Hey there, Mr. Redder here. Welcome back to another episode of r/entitled People Stories. Our first story we'll be reading today. Karen demands I get off my treadmill so she can use it. After that, stop complaining about your neighbors. Okay, sure. And after that, $15 per minute. Now for every thumbs up this video gets, one Karen does not get to kick anyone off the treadmill. I'd never kick you off the treadmill, Reddit boy. You could really stand to lose a few pounds. So please smash that like button and subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories from Reddit every single day. Karen demands I get off my treadmill so she can use it. To put things into perspective, at my university's gym, we have 8 treadmills. There are 2 together at one end of the gym, and the rest are all in their own line. However, in the line of 6, the 2nd and 5th treadmill are out of order. I was on a treadmill at the gym today when a woman approached me and said, "Hey, I need that treadmill." I was on the 3rd treadmill in the row. When the woman said this, I noticed 2 other women getting on the 4th and 5th treadmills, and every other treadmill was free, so it wasn't like I was hogging a machine or anything. So I said, why? There are open treadmills." She replied, "Yeah, but you are on the one next to my friends." I replied, And she said, "I came here to work out with my friends. I'm not going to be on a treadmill that isn't next to my friends. So I'm asking that you please move to a different treadmill so I can be with my friends." I replied, "And I'm declining to move." She then said, "But like you said, there are other machines open, so you can move to another one. I don't see why you're making this an issue." So I said, "You're the one making this an issue. I'm in the middle of my workout and have no obligation to move. I was here first and I said no. I'm not moving." She then said to her friends, "This isn't worth it. I'm leaving." The other women stopped their workout and got off the treadmill and started to follow their friend. One of them looked back at me and said to the other, "Wow, what a jerk." I don't think I was being rude or unreasonable. Was I? Not a jerk at all. She didn't ask nicely at all. She demanded. The entitlement is huge. If she tries this again, report her to the folks at the gym. Yeah, seriously. If she had come up and said, "Hey, sorry to bother you, but I was wondering if we could swap places because I'd really like to work out with my friends," then maybe OP would have been more inclined to agree. OP still wouldn't have been the jerk to decline, but a little bit of politeness goes a huge way. Not the jerk. Polite or not, it's rude as heck to ask someone to stop their workout so you can work out with your friends. If she actually worked out, ever, she would know that. Once you're at that heart rate, to have to stop and move because some random person wants to walk with her friends, I would be mad, and no matter how polite you were to me, I wouldn't move. She's a jerk for even asking. OP, not the jerk. Not the jerk for asking at all. If she politely asked and OP refused, then neither would have been the jerk. There's nothing wrong with making a polite request. I have to disagree. Interrupting someone's workout for that crap is rude in and of itself. When I work out, I get into a zone, as well as the treadmill is either on a pre-programmed workout or it's tracking my workout. Please don't interrupt me. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or the lady? Please let us know. Never interrupt someone during their workout. My gains are much more important than whatever's going on with you. Stop complaining about your neighbors. Okay, sure. I had moved in an apartment with a roommate last summer. When we first came in, the biggest part of the sale was the fact that the apartment was freshly renovated and soundproof. This one is important, and you'll see why. So when we got in, my roommate immediately fell in love with it, and I was too. When we moved in, we were very careful not to bother anyone, as we wanted to quickly have a good relationship with our neighbors. Oh, did you see the new neighbors? They only move during the day. They don't make sound during the night. What nice people, kind of deal. And we can safely say it worked. What we did not know, however, is that we were only 3 renters when we first came in. Us on the floor, another family upstairs on the opposite side, and another one on the 3rd floor, with the empty apartment between us. Turns out the soundproof statement was accurate, but only in regards to the inside to outside situation. When our upstairs neighbors moved, it was a nightmare. Sound from 5 a.m. to past midnight, 5 days in a row, dropping stuff, speaking loudly, yelling, or walking in their apartment with shoes on. Out of frustration on the 5th day, I walk upstairs and meet my neighbor at midnight. I ask them to cease their activities for the night. I have work in the morning and I cannot be kept up all night. I understand they were freshly moved in and they might have had a tight schedule, but midnight was too late to be moving stuff. He didn't reply and closed the door on me. I go downstairs and the sound starts over again. I notify my landlord and he tells me he'll handle it and apologizes for the situation, explaining to me my neighbor was just moving and that he probably didn't understand what I was saying because of a language barrier. The neighbors were extremely loud. I know a lot of Karens will use that as an excuse to talk about their neighbors, but when I say loud, I mean it. There was no stop to their loud noises. It seemed like they couldn't be bothered to hold something without dropping it, or jumping up and down on the floor, or purposely banging things against the wall. I recorded the event and even installed microphones in my home jack to my computer, activating and recording every time there is strong vibration to the house. Over 98 events on Monday, February 14th. I was livid. I sent that to the landlord and explained this cannot continue. First, the apartment was poorly soundproofed, which meant we were hearing every sound at all times. Second, we had notified the neighbors about the situation and they have ignored it. I have notified the landlord to awaken them to our situation. I report the issues several times and even advised my landlord that they were very heavy thuds coming from upstairs, which worried me. He answered with, "Stop complaining about your neighbors already. I have other things to do." I have answered, "Understood, sir. Please be advised this will be my last communication and action to help you in that regard." You know when I said I heard loud bangs? Turns out our upstairs neighbor was doing bench press lifting in his living room, and the heavy thuds I kept hearing was him dropping his weights on the ground. I had warned my roommate about removing anything she didn't want broken from the living room, and lo and behold, 4 days later, the first crack appeared. Then another. The floor was giving up. I moved the couch out of the way and moved the TV and consoles into the bedroom. Fast forward to 3 days ago. After another series of loud bangs, I hear a loud crack, followed by an "oh no," followed by very loud noises. I went to the living room to see my neighbor on the ground with several injuries due to the fact that he just went through the floor and brought his bench and weight rack with him. I called an ambulance and the police. The police asked me if I reported the issue with my landlord, which I could confirm due to my communications being made via email. I sent everything, and I am now, of course, filing to break my lease due to uninhabitable dwelling. The landlord came in yesterday and just proceeded to explode. Told me I should have made him aware that my neighbor was doing dangerous things, to which I answered I had notified him about the very loud sounds and he never investigated, and that he also ordered me to stop complaining about my neighbors. It was not my responsibility to go out of my way to protect his assets if he is unwilling to cooperate with me. My neighbors, roommate, and I are now residing in a hotel until we can find a new place to live. We are now also looking towards adding a bit more salt to the injury by maybe filing for criminal negligence against both our landlord and the neighbor. The first because the apartment was apparently having some flaws, and the latter for endangering us. Had I not caught up on what caused the sound earlier, me or, God forbid, my roommate could have been under that. Anyway, it was a fun week, and I do enjoy the accommodations of the hotel. Never went to a 4-star spa-included hotel before. Turns out the chocolate on the pillow is a lie, and I am very disappointed about that. Edit. As I have advised to a few commentators, I followed up with my roommate, and she did not take pictures of the event. She got a bit mad, I asked, considering what just happened, and questioned my priorities. I then explained that our Reddit story got a lot of attention, and some people in the comments requested some visual proof. I will spare you her answer. I will just add that it's okay not to believe this story based on my word alone. If people actually didn't question it, I would be worried. When I posted this story, my only intent was to share my experience, and I thought, malicious compliance, neat. If there was a horrible landlord, bad neighbor Reddit, I would have found prior to submitting this story, probably would have went there instead. I will also add that I'm not an expert or an engineer. How and why something like weights and the like would cause part of the floor to collapse, I cannot say. Was there a structural damage prior? Was there water damage that was never addressed, just covered up? Was the structure just not as sound as I believed it was when I got in? I can't say. I understand some of you might have worked in construction and never have experienced such an event, or have actual reasons to suspect a lie due to personal and professional experience. Once again, you can and should question anything on the internet. I just hope you also apply that kind of skepticism and I mean wanting proof or the opinion of an actual expert prior to making a decision, to more than just Reddit posts. For those who made us laugh and those who have spoken to us, who have been encouraging and constructive, people who actually gave us advice, I thank you very much. It was very nice of everyone, and I wish you the best. Don't worry about the people telling you your story is fake. It's Reddit. They'll always find something to complain about. $15 per minute. I've got another Fun Shipyard story I thought people might enjoy. So by this point in life, I had moved to another city and become a tugboat captain. I eventually built the show up enough that I had 2 boats and 3 guys working for me. It was a difficult business to keep functioning, but I did my best. We primarily did ship assist work and shifted dead ships around in various yards. A dead ship refers to one that isn't currently crewed up and running, so it's unable to move around by itself. Anyway, one of our customers was a great big shipyard that was constantly shuffling things around. They had 5 dry docks, a dozen whirlies, cranes, several thousand feet of pier. It was a pretty big show. While this yard was in the habit of moving boats around on pretty much daily basis, we'd get told, Boat A needs to be under crane number 6 at 07. Boat X needs to enter dry dock number 4 at 9:30. Things like this. The problem was that nobody there coordinated anything with each other. The superintendents barely talked to the shop foreman. The foreman didn't care what each other were doing. So we'd get these marshalling orders that didn't make any sense. If we did exactly as told, things would take all day. So I'd say, hey, if we do these in the other order, or hold this one, move up by 10 minutes, then everything will work out a lot more smoothly, and we can get out of here and quit billing you. Because keep in mind, this wasn't our only customer. We had other yards calling all day who needed their own work done. So to keep everyone happy, we had to try and be as efficient as possible. Well, this was all fine, and things operated along these lines for many years, with me being the de facto coordinator. One day though, they hired this new yard superintendent, the boss of the whole yard, who in the space of 3 weeks royally messes everything up. This guy calls me on the carpet, as much as you can with a subcontractor, and tells me to keep my nose out of it and do like I'm told. I say, you got it, boss, and honestly, that was probably the greatest day of my life. I went back out to the boat, climbed up in my wheelhouse, and spent 8 hours doing 2 hours worth of work. I figured that this was going to get real expensive real fast, and once I had turned in an invoice or 2, someone was going to raise heck. Here's the thing though, no one ever did. Ever. We'd get told to do X job first, then do job B. Well, that's fine and all, but if done in that order, we'd have to sit there and wait for 5 hours because X being in the way precluded B getting done. 5 hours at $900 an hour for our 2 boats. It was ridiculous. It got to the point rather quickly where we'd get all set for the next part of the job and then just shut the engines down and relax. This went on for 15 years until, surprise, surprise, that yard went out of business. I should mention too, that isn't how I normally roll. I can't stand dragging my feet on purpose. In this case though, I had to stop and say, no one appreciated my help when I was helping, and they don't even notice that I've stopped. So why am I trying to cut my own income if this customer doesn't even seem to care? Am I the jerk for laughing at the absurdity of my wife taking pictures of herself cleaning? I, 36 male, work full-time, and my wife, who's 27, stays at home. We'd been married for 5 years. I have a good job, so I'm happy to support her. We do not have kids. My wife is something of a slob. I know this isn't the nicest thing to say about your partner, but she would happily step over a pile of clothes in our living room for a month before actually folding them. During the daytime, she doesn't really cook, clean, or do any housework at all. She loves browsing the internet and watching Netflix, but beyond her interests, she can rarely gather up the energy to do much at all. To be honest, before marriage, when I lived alone, my house was much cleaner than it is now. The bizarre thing about this situation is that she's incredibly sensitive about the fact that she doesn't really do much all day and denies it whenever it's brought up. I do my own laundry, prepare my own lunches, and oftentimes cook dinner. She might do the dishes in the evening, or she'll leave them for the next day. A few days ago, I got really tired of it because a pile of her stuff that I didn't know where to put away had been sitting in our living room for over a week. I told her that she really needs to get it together and learn how to clean, even a little, every day. She fired back that she's not a maid, to which I responded it was clear, because if she went to someone's house, laid on their sofa, and watched Netflix for 6 hours, she would have been fired on her first day. The next day after I get home from work, my wife and I were still kind of going at it. She suddenly approached me and showed me pictures she took of herself cleaning during the day, repeating, "See, this is what I do during the day." I couldn't help myself and began laughing at how ridiculous it was, then said having a fake photo shoot like an Instagrammer didn't mean she was doing a good job around the house. She says I crossed the line. Now she's sulking in her room. I feel like she's trying to emotionally manipulate me, but I could have pushed it too far. Not the jerk, but this sounds like me before I was on ADHD meds and antidepressants. That's exactly what I was thinking. When your brain doesn't brain the same way as other people, you can actually come across as lazy and messy when you're really just struggling. Yeah, the problem here is how does OP approach this topic with his wife without her taking it as him saying, "There must be something medically wrong with you to act this way," which I don't think would go over particularly well. If it's pure laziness, obviously that's on her. And while a cleaning photo shoot is maybe silly, I think this is missing the big picture. Everything else sounds potentially like serious mental health issues, such as depression or ADHD, a sleep disorder, or other physical illness that can cause chronic fatigue. It may not actually be good for her mental health to be home all the time. I hated going back into work, but it was amazing for me to get out of the house. I really think she needs to speak with a professional about the possibility of depression. She may need help, not mockery. ETA, some condensed great points people are making in the replies. Women in their 20s can develop autoimmune disease, usually accompanied by fatigue that ramps up over the years. Even if she did not already have depression, ADHD, or similar, being isolated at home without structure or purpose is a recipe for disaster. It will lead to depression-like symptoms even if it doesn't become a full true diagnosis. All that said, I don't personally think there's a jerk here. I think she needs a doctor's visit and to get a job, even part-time to get out of the house and get structure and purpose in her days. As with most posts here, honest adult communication will go a long way. So you married a 22-year-old when you were 31 and probably started dating her when she was 19 or 20 and you were 29 or 30? And you're surprised that this is how she acts? Everyone sucks here. Believe it or not, lots of 22-year-olds everywhere keep a clean home and don't leave laundry in piles for weeks. And believe it or not, a lot of 22-year-olds have never lived alone before and are probably used to just having a bedroom in their parents' house. A lot of 22-year-olds probably have parents that take care of the housework if they live at home. They got married when she was 22. They most likely started dating a few years before that. Laughing at some of the comments. I, as you can tell from my name, am most likely older than most here. I have stayed at home for most of my 30-plus years of marriage. If a grown adult cannot even do the basics without sitting down to discuss what is expected of them, something is wrong. OP, maybe you do need to sit down, discuss what needs to be done, and even make a chart of who does what when. Maybe your wife never had to clean for herself or figure out what needed to be done when. Calmly together, make a list. Figure out how often and who does what. If you have a yard, include those chores. I'm not saying your wife doesn't deserve downtime or even lazy days. I don't think you are the jerk for laughing about the picture. I would have expected that when my kids were teenagers. Not the jerk. Yes, I'm looking at all these people saying he's wrong and thinking they might be teenagers, because adults in functional relationships both have to contribute. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or his wife? Please let us know.
If that is out of character for her, there could be something wrong. I hope she's okay. If that's just how she's always been, then you're in trouble, buddy boy.
Am I the jerk for not compromising on where we go to lunch because of my food allergy? A while ago, I was awarded for my work. It's not valuable, just a framed certificate, but it was voted on by my peers. That weekend, I turned 40. On the Monday, my manager, Janine, and her boss, Kara, said they wanted us to celebrate these events as a team and asked where I would like to go for lunch. I was conflicted because there's been a history of disputes around my food allergy. In short, they always go to a nearby Chinese restaurant, but I am allergic to soy, which features in Chinese food. Kara has informed HR to find a solution, but so far they've been useful as a chocolate teapot. In meetings though, they have insisted they want to include me, and this was the first time they had asked for my suggestions. So in the end, I suggested a new Indian restaurant my partner and I had been to. I told Janine I knew Indian wasn't everyone's favorite, so if there were any problems, I'd suggest something else. Janine said, "There's nothing wrong with that. Ooh, yum yum yum." 2 days later, Kara emailed that we were having lunch to celebrate my award and the big 4-0 at the Indian restaurant. Unfortunately, I was talking to Janine at the time Kara's email arrived. Janine did have some issues with Indian food, which she alerted me to by screaming them in my face and having a meltdown. I calmed Janine down, then went back to my desk and broke down myself. Carolyn, manager of the next team, came over and consoled me. I was shaking so badly. Carolyn filled in the incident report for me, then emailed Janine and Kara to say I was leaving work and drove me to my GP. GP gave me a week off work. Now I am back at work and it's bad. Kara postponed lunch until I was better and expected it to still go ahead as planned. Janine wants it moved to the Chinese restaurant they always go to, and HR is backing Janine because she is not coping with change, and I should accommodate her. I shot back with accommodating Janine could hurt me in the process. I just want the whole thing to drop because I'm fed up. Kara wants to be the peacemaker and has suggested I meet them halfway. I don't know where halfway is, and I can't be bothered finding it. Kara, Janine, and HR all say I am the jerk for not being prepared to compromise on where we go out to lunch. I need fresh perspectives on this. Am I the jerk? By the way, the two restaurants are literally across the road from each other. Not the jerk. Reply to the necessary parties with, I thank you for wishing to celebrate my achievement. However, it has been brought to my attention that my potentially deadly allergy has created an unacceptable situation regarding the selection of meal locale for said celebration. As I do not want to cause any further issues, I politely ask that we not celebrate the achievement. I will be content with the certificate I have been gifted and any congratulatory statements I receive. As I do not want the controversy to continue, please do not continue to press the issue or attempt to pressure me into changing my choice on this action. Make it clear that, as this is supposed to celebrate you, you have made the choice to not have any further celebration or acknowledgement and simply wish life to go on with minimal fuss. Also, keep copies of any documents, emails, notes, meeting minutes, etc. of all the interactions regarding this situation, and even record, if you can and it's legal, interactions. Being screamed at is not cool, and having a record of that interaction would help protect you in the event of a complaint against you. OP. Trust me, I have kept everything. Plus, Carolyn, the manager from the next team, has included herself as a witness. My friend from her team came over and told me he'd put in a report too, as a witness. I think I'm pretty well covered. I have suggested that as the issue has been distressing for myself and others, that we not progress the matter of the lunch any further. Kara and HR are both digging their heels in and saying it must go ahead. I'm going to sleep on it tonight and see whether tomorrow brings new ideas. The words complex intersecting disabilities spring to mind. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or their coworkers? Please let us know.
Here's the 3 magic words I'd tell them. Thanks, but no thanks.
Isn't that 4 words?
Are you daft?
Am I the jerk for holding a grudge and refusing to reconnect with the high school mean girl? Throwaway account, and I'm British, so apologies if I use terminology you aren't familiar with. Just a heads up, this situation is stupid. I've known this girl, I'll call her Jay, my whole life, and I was never close friends with her. But we were forced to be in constant close proximity to one another because of how close our families were. Jay hated me. She mocked my appearance, how weird I was, said it was a miracle I had friends, etc. I would speak to my parents about it, and they'd tell me to ignore it because she's like family. One time we were in an English class, and she was on my table with 4 other guys, and she, out of nowhere might I add, said, OP told me she wants to be a dancer when she grows up. And the whole table of guys busted out laughing while I sat there denying it with my face bright red. I know it sounds small and dumb as it is, but at the time I was so embarrassed and wanted the ground to swallow me whole, and she just thought it was hilarious. Nothing wrong with being a dancer, of course, but I was an insecure teenager, and it was just a weird thing for her to say. When boys would play that cruel prank by asking me out as a joke and then giggling about it with their friends, if you know, you know, she would just giggle along. I could go on. Imagine my shock when, weeks ago, a friend texted me a link to a TikTok and said, OMG, isn't this Jay? Indeed it was. It was one of those trends where you stitch another TikTok with your own experience, and it was Jay talking about how boys would ask her out as a joke at school, and it made her realize that they were horrible to those who they found unattractive. And, does she not remember the way she would giggle while she watched boys do the exact same thing to me? Anyways, I haven't seen her in person since we left school. We went to different universities, and she moved to another city. Yesterday, my mom called me to let me know that Jay was moving back to our city and wants to reconnect with me, and my first thought was, oh no. I told my mom I'd pass on that, and my mom sounded disappointed in me for holding grudges over things that happened when you two were just kids. She called me immature and said that maybe Jay wanted to make things right. I doubled down and said I wasn't interested. Well, I didn't know this at the time, but my mom had our phone conversation on speaker and Jay was right there with her. It was supposed to be a surprise for when I got home and saw her there. My mom told me later that she was very shocked and hurt that I shouldn't have said what I said. I do feel bad and also just plain embarrassed because I didn't know she heard what I said. I had literally cackled out loud when my mom brought up Jay and I reconnecting. I'm not sure how to feel now. Am I the jerk? Not the jerk. You're entitled to decide who your friends are, and don't feel embarrassed that she was on speaker. Truth hurts, and hopefully she'll get the hint. I don't think Jay can be embarrassed. Like OP said, Jay made a TikTok describing what she did to her, but Jay just put herself in OP's situation. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or Jay? Please let us know. Am I the jerk for blaming the fact our house got robbed on my girlfriend? My girlfriend and I are both 23 and live in a pretty small town where everybody knows everybody. Last week, I went on a trip to see my parents, leaving my girlfriend at home by herself with our dog. The way she tells it, she took our dog out to do her business in the morning, and when she did, a man we had never seen put his head over the wall where we share with our neighbors and asked if my girlfriend was going out that day because he was doing roofing work on the house next door and didn't want the noise to bother her. An obvious red flag to me, but not to my girlfriend, who decided to tell him her plans for the day, which included going out. She went out with the dog and came back to the house having been robbed. There wasn't loads taken, but my laptop was among the things that were. She called me, obviously upset, and when I asked her who it could have been, she told me about the morning incident. Turned out she hadn't even locked the back door, after just telling this random man she was going to be out of the house all day. I told her that it was completely her fault and that her lack of critical thinking is concerning, and told her, as a joke, to go to a doctor. We've been arguing about it ever since, and everyone has pretty much told me that I'm being harsh on her and it isn't her fault. Am I the jerk? You're the jerk. She already knows she messed up. No need to kick her while she's down. And frankly, it could have been much worse. She was alone. Anything could have happened. She needs to learn to be more aware and cautious. You need to learn to express your anger and the like in a healthier way. Everyone sucks here. Are you right about her being an idiot? Yes. Did you need to treat her like that to make your point? No. You're the jerk. Your girlfriend should have locked the door, yes, but things do slip, and that doesn't mean that you should blame the robbery on her. The robbery was the fault of the robber. This will be a learning lesson for her, and the punishment is that she had to go through this alone. You weren't there, and the moment that she told you about it, you judged her and got mad at her instead of consoling her. If you don't see how harsh and rude that was, then you definitely deserve that rating. The better response would have been to ask if she was okay, ask her how it happened, and then talk through how that could be prevented in the future and learn from it. Not scold her for something she had no way of knowing what happened. Rude. All these people saying OP is a jerk or too harsh is complete and utter BS. It doesn't matter if she lives in a small town where people know each other. She literally told a guy that she's never seen before her entire day's plans and didn't even lock the house down before leaving. She is a major idiot, like so many people in here defending this major mess up. At least they could say everyone sucks here, but no. Oh, your poor girlfriend is already upset, and you should control your anger better. So one-time emotions are valid, and the other times they are not? The joke was placed weird, but I get it that OP is mad. What if there had been something of greater value in there? Maybe a pet. Soft, everyone sucks here. You shouldn't have said that comment, but bro, girlfriend is kind of lacking in common sense. If everyone in town knows everybody, I'm going to be wary about the random guy I don't know asking me about if I'll be home or not. And I definitely wouldn't give him an estimate of how long I'll be gone or what I'll be doing. You don't just tell that to anyone. And then not locking the back door? I really would have been angry too. You always lock the door. I have anxiety and check my purse for my keys like 3 times before I leave and once after I'm out the door. It was definitely her fault for giving him the tools he needed to rob the place. But that one joke wasn't necessary. If you're angry, just be angry. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or his girlfriend? Please let us know.
This is why you shouldn't date people with single-digit IQs.
Karen gets busted for plagiarizing a piece of artwork in class. I've been doing art in multiple forms since I was really young. I've never been interested in art as a career or a job. It's something I started doing to express myself and to help my anxiety. I've been posting my drawings on Instagram just for fun, and through this, I became friends with a somewhat popular artist. We will call her Dana. By popular, I don't mean millions of followers. I mean she has a little over 25,000 followers. Not an extreme amount, but still a good following. We became rather close through Instagram. Now, Dana is an amazing artist. This girl can make a drawing look like a photo. Now back to the main point. It all happened in art class. We previously had an assignment to do an art piece that shows how the world has changed due to what's going on. When first given the assignment, our art teacher, we will call her Mrs. G, told us that she would pick 5 pieces of work to enter into an art contest being held by the local art center. Anyone interested in being picked should tell her after class. The prize was a $100 gift card to the local Michael's store, which is the best art store around here. Now, I'm perfectly content with my cheap dollar store art supplies. As I said, I don't take my art too seriously, it's just for fun, so I didn't enter. Now comes Wednesday. Mr. G had picked the drawings and they were posted outside of the art room. Now when I looked at one of the winner's drawings, it completely stuck out to me. It was an art piece submitted by a girl who we will call Candy. I knew I had seen that exact piece before. On Dana's page. She had done it about a month back. I even pulled up the post on Dana's page and held them side by side, completely copied. Now here's where I might be the jerk. I ratted her out to Mrs. G, going as far as showing her Dana's Instagram page, namely the piece Candy copied. Now Mrs. G has a rule, no tracing and or copying art. Original pieces only unless the assignment mentioned otherwise. So Mrs. G was not happy. She confronted Candy, who tried denying it at first, but admits she copied it once presented with proof. She also went back and looked at Candy's previous works and saw that she copied most of those as well. Candy was sent to the office and didn't come back for the rest of the day. From what I heard, her punishment was having her piece taken down and being disqualified from the competition, obviously. She was given a failing grade on the assignment, and she was given 3 days out of school suspension. Now, her and her friend are harassing me for turning her in, calling me a rat, saying I shouldn't have butted my nose where it doesn't belong, saying it's not my business. But isn't it my business? Dana is my friend, and Candy was going to enter Dana's hard work into a competition claiming it was hers. If she had won, the piece would hang in the art center with her name on it. That just doesn't sit well with me. Am I the jerk for ratting on a girl for plagiarizing a piece of artwork in class?
Support our channel by joining as a member today, and we'll give you a shout out in our next video.
Or come watch this video next. You won't believe what Karen does in that one.